Looks like that's it for the physical evaluation. Now for the hard part. Tell me why you're here. Not everyone gets chosen for this line of work, but you volunteered. Usually we have to ask.
I want to serve my country.
And you think by being assigned here is the best way to do that?
Give me a mission and I'll prove it.
What makes you think you're ready? Because I tell you, we get a lot of recruits in here, and you're not convincing me.
I get an opinion? Or is that a rhetorical question?
All right, let me be more specific. Beyond the guns, tech, and sneaking around in the dark, there's one last part of this job that nobody else here quite gets.
I'm listening.
Good, because listening is a large part of it. The way you talk to people, your attitude. That's what we're going to discuss now.
If you're telling me I have an attitude problem, then you could have read that in my file.
No, believe it or not, you're not here because you're a people person. You're here because your psych profile says you're skilled at manipulating others.
Was that a compliment?
You'll see. The way you project yourself definitely affects what people think of you, and your reputation with them.
What do I care what others think?
You shouldn't. Having a bad or good rep with someone can actually gain you different benefits. Sometimes you want to piss someone off so they can't think straight. Other times you want to build a strong rapport with someone and talk your way out of a bad situation. All depends on your objective. This goes for your handlers as well. We're going to be sending you into a lot of dangerous places, and your only backup is going to be who you're talking to on your headset. How you treat them is going to have an effect on the success of your mission.
So if I piss them off, I'm screwed?
No. A handler that likes you too much and puts emotions before the mission can be just as dangerous as one who resents you.
This is a long way of telling me that I should just act the way I want. I don't have time to chat when there's work to be done, and it sounds like it'll just leave me vulnerable if I go down the wrong road.
No, again, there are no bad choices, just results. Over time, folks may hear about you and your attitude before they meet you. They may have a preconceived notion of how you're going to treat them, which can affect their reaction.
Well, maybe they should take the time to know the real me.
If only. Time's something no one seems to be able to spare, especially during a conversation. Although that can be a plus.
I don't see how.
The clock doesn't stop when you're speaking to someone. So if you need to get your second win before a fight, making small talk can buy you time.
But if I'm running on adrenaline, won't chatting take me off my guard?
It can. So if you need to get to the point, act instead of fight. For example, if you don't think I have any more to teach you, then you could just say, I'm done with this. I wouldn't think any less of you. You seem to have the basics down.
Why wouldn't I just shoot someone instead of talking to them?
Sometimes it is better if you shoot first. Still, approaching someone to talk to them can allow you to get the drop on them if you get close enough to strike. Use it if you have to, if the conversation isn't going your way. Assuming there's even a way you want the conversation to go.
So how do I know what provokes someone? I'd rather rattle them if I can.
If that's what you want to do, pay attention to the clues in your environment. Sometimes people will have advice, and intel can help. But there's another way. Read much?
Well, I read the recruiting pamphlet. Got me this far.
There's a host of information out there through dossiers, email, and other documents that represent total research others have collected on a target, organization, or operation.
And what does that get me, exactly?
Sometimes you'll spot obvious triggers. People who don't respond well to smartasses, like me. Others who respect loyalty, duty, a professional approach. Others who don't have time for bullshit, and like it when you get to the point. But dossiers just don't contain psych information. They'll usually have combat information on your target as well. What side they favor, any past injuries, common weapons or tactics they use. Some of it blunt, some of it subtle. But if push comes to shove, it can give you an edge in combat. The more you've done your homework, the more vulnerable they'll be.
Makes sense to me. I'd rather get a firefight over with as quickly as possible.
Amen to that. Our records are complete, so use them when you have downtime.
You have dossiers on everyone here?
Yep, if you can dig them up. You might learn a few things. Sometimes reading a dossier will give you more options when dealing with others. A few facts to bring up, to shake secrets loose.
What about you?
You should already know what makes me happy, Mike, and what pisses me off.
At what point can I start accessing personnel records and conducting surveillance?
After meeting a target or hearing their name referenced by someone else, you should have a target ID. Then hop onto the database and start doing your homework. You can usually unlock their basic information at that point. Let's start with a simple one. Al Samad. That should be familiar to you.
The terrorist group.
Yes, you can research groups as well as people. It doesn't carry the same benefits, but it can provide useful intel in the field. Talking to people about others is a good way to help gain dossier information. Sometimes people will have information on someone that can unlock a brand new thread in your computer search.
Okay, so I've suffered through your interrogation and know how to give one if need be. Am I ready or not?
We'll see. Meet me in the command center, and I can give you a proper mission briefing.
Good, because I'm sick of this room.
Trust me, Mike. If it was up to me, you'd never see this interrogation cell again. Recognize him?
That's Sheikh Ali Shaheed, the voice of Al-Samad. They say he was responsible for shooting down that airliner in the Middle East.
Yeah, he got his hands on some prototype Halbech technology. A missile with a multi-stage targeting system called Jacob's Ladder. That airliner was his first target.
But how did Shaheed get his hands on that missile?
Missiles. He's got more. He stole them from Halbech, and we need them back before he gets any more trigger-happy. Then we want you to kill him.
About time. I'm getting tired of this place.
All right, then. Pack your gear. You're heading to Saudi Arabia.
Not coming with me?
I'll be there in spirit. And on video and radio when needed, Agent.
And I just got here. Oh, well. I'm gonna miss this place.
I doubt it. I'll contact you when you reach Saudi Arabia.
Care to explain how Halbech lost its missiles?
Old news. An accounting error.
The missiles. You didn't lose them, did you?
Angry, Mr. Thornton? Because of what happened in Saudi Arabia.
Mike, can you read me? I'm getting lots of interference.
Reading you loud and clear. Where can I find Shaheed?
It's a little more complicated than that. It's gonna require some groundwork, and lots of it. Good to see you're eager to get started. Finding Shaheed is your primary objective. Trouble is, we don't know his location, but we have 3 leads. An arms dealer, Nasri, is believed to have sold the missiles to Shaheed, and he's currently operating in Saudi Arabia. If you can intercept him, maybe he can tell you where Shaheed is, or guide you to the missiles.
Do we have anything else on Nasri?
Nothing more than what's in his dossier. If you can manage to make any contacts and find out more, we'd welcome it. We also tracked down the location of an airfield Shaheed used in the past. If you can sneak in and plant a listening device, we may be able to track flight Shaheed is using to move through Saudi Arabia.
And the third lead?
We've got the coordinates of an Al-Samad detention camp, also used as a stockpile for weapons. We suspect the missiles may be stored there.
Is there any way to be sure the missiles are there?
Not at this time. The area is dug into the side of a canyon, and getting reliable satellite imagery when sandstorms aren't blowing has been almost impossible. We'll want you to go in alone, recon the area, and shut down their radar and communications. Once that's down, we can call in air support and hit the camp hard.
No pressure.
And no backup. Get used to it. It's the job. You check out your new home yet? It's got some perks you might be interested in.
Anything beyond the weapons locker?
Thought that might hold your attention.
It did? Anything else?
A computer with a hub connection so fast you'll feel like you're going back in time.
What, to the Stone Age? Please.
You can do dossier research, encrypted emails, and if need be, access some of the weapons dealers in the area. That'll be done on your own dime, however, using whatever funds you can find in Saudi Arabia.
So if I need a resupply, I'll need to steal money and then contact a dealer myself?
We don't want you using the Alpha Protocol accounts with rival terrorists or weapons dealers. That has a habit of getting back to us, and then Congress calls. The weapons locker you already found, help yourself to what's inside. Just be sure to choose the ammo and armor you think suits the mission. When you're ready to head out, just use the front door, or access the missions from the main terminal. I'll have already uploaded all the mission specs to your PDA. You can review them at any time.
Alright, so is that it? Westridge. Great. Home sweet home.
It is great, because now I get a chance to talk. And I'm going to talk about leveling up. Every level we get 10 AP, and as you can see we have a boatload from perks as well. So first we're going to buy Awareness. Awareness has pretty much already been explained, but there it is. And at level 5 of Stealth, which a couple of people have mentioned, we get Mastery of Awareness, where these arrows above enemies' heads are always on. And our next level we get Silent Running, which isn't very useful, but beyond 5th level we get Shadow Operative, which means we turn invisible. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but yeah, you go invisible. Really helps. The number 2 runner-up was Pistols, so I'm going to go ahead and buy a rank of Pistols, which increases our accuracy and stability with them. The Pistol's ability is Chain Shot, which is pretty godlike. It basically stops time. You get a chance to line up a certain number of shots, and then they all go off at the same time. So you can kill, at maximum level, 6 different people, all in the same split second, so none of them become alerted. Some machine guns, as I mentioned, are terrible, at least in my opinion. The skill you get with them is infinite ammo, more or less. Shotguns have an okay skill, but shotguns are already really nice. Basically, every shot becomes a knockdown shot. Assault rifles are my favorite rampaging weapon, and their ability is basically aimbotting. Sabotage is terrible. Don't buy too many ranks of Sabotage. You want to buy the first one because it lets you disable locks with EMPs. And you want to buy the second one because it makes the hacking minigames easier. But the hacking minigames difficulty in part scales to your level of Sabotage. So if you have more ranks of Sabotage, the minigames get harder. Medic is pretty self-explanatory. You get more health. Technical aptitude in general is miscellaneous abilities. You get more ammo from piles. You get a little bonus to your different things. You get a lower cooldown, more health from health packs. Toughness gives you actual base health increases, faster recharge of your endurance, and the skill it gives you is basically a huge amount of damage resistance. That gets huger as you buy it up. And martial arts, the different ranks give you more damage, longer combos, some special moves. The skill you get for that is Fury, which is extra damage, a bit faster movement, Berserker mode, basically. So we have 13 AP left, which is enough for 2 more skill ranks. So that's going to be the next thing in the polls. You're going to again vote for 1 skill rank, and the top 2 winners will each get a rank. That's enough to buy Stealth up to 4, which gives us the Silent Running skill, and more Awareness. And I'm running down what level 2 of each skill gives you. Once again, I do suggest getting Sabotage to rank 2, but not a moment above that. I've actually rejiggered several things so that I've tested it basically in the end game, where with 5 ranks of Sabotage, mini games in the final level have a difficulty of 10 or 11. But with only 2 ranks, they have a difficulty of 6 or 7. It makes a huge difference. And here you can read for yourselves all the different perks we have, since they're not spoilers anymore. And now we're going to show off our Saudi Arabian safe house, and all the fun little stuff that's in it, starting with this.
Hey, look. Darcy photoshopped our faces into a still frame of a buddy cop movie. That's, yeah.
Not much more I can say about that. I think Mike said all that needed to be.
Agent Darcy sent me this for acing the training course. He misspelled my name, Thornton.
Yeah, Darcy's really an ass, even when he likes you.
Mina wrote, "Way to score." I think she custom framed it just for me. How nice.
Here's a question for you. Do you think Mina will be one of the romance options?
There's a note from Parker here. The agency made me give this to you. What a guy.
Yeah, Parker's great, isn't he? And we're going to head over here to the bathroom. And not just because this is something awful, but because the bathroom is where you change your appearance. And lots of people wanted him to look like Fidel Castro. Problem is, aside from the different hat, I don't know what the Castro look is supposed to entail. Whether it's a particular pair of sunglasses or what. So, yeah, let me know. I can always continue to customize. We got a nice fountain inside the house, which I don't get, and some kind of painting. The front door is where you go start on missions, but I'm going to save that for later. This is the bedroom, which is utterly useless. There's really nothing to interact with in here. You can't even change clothes here. Over here, let's stop and watch some TV news.
In Washington today, Senator Patrick Darcy unveiled new legislation aimed at cleaning up the federal government by greatly restricting lobbyists' access to legislators.
The bill, called the People Over Rich Corporations Act, or PORC Act, would prohibit lobbyists from contributing to election campaigns and require anyone affiliated with a corporation to stay 500 feet or more away from any member of the legislative branch.
Opponents of the bill have labeled it a draconian offense against free speech and so laughably unenforceable as to render it a farce. Senator Darcy had no comment for INN News. Should American businesses be compensated if conflict arises in Asia? Legislation being discussed on Capitol Hill would assist with relocation costs for operations based in countries considered hostile to the United States. Detractors in both parties have attacked the bill as a massive bailout for companies that have outsourced American jobs. China and India are the largest destinations for offshore operations, with everything from manufacturing to software development being produced overseas for American businesses. Tensions continue to rise in the Far East as Taiwanese President Ronald Sung's independence rally approaches. The controversial politician has the Chinese government worried that he will formally declare independence, an action that would almost certainly lead to war.
High-level White House sources have told INN News that, should China attempt to forcibly block a Taiwanese move for independence, the U.S. Navy will take, quote, any and all measures to prevent Chinese aggression.
Meanwhile, the president, on a goodwill tour of Africa, issued a statement urging all parties to remain calm and rational, and to let diplomacy prevail. In Washington today, Senator Patrick Darcy...
Yeah, the game really oversimplifies the situation in Taiwan between them and China. But here are weapons. Yay, weapons. Well, yay, armor first. I don't know why it defaulted here. But yeah, this is where you change your armor. Right now we only have one set, but based on what you guys want me to do, I'll obviously buy different sets of armor. The stealthy versions for when you want me to go stealth, and the military versions when you want me to go military. Then I tried to switch over to weapons, but there's an interesting menu bug going on here. But in the meanwhile, you can look at the pistol. You can check out the stats such as damage, accuracy. You know, they're fairly self-explanatory. And you can browse the different models. You're allowed to equip 2 different weapons at once, which means you can have, say, the pistol and this SMG. Or a shotgun. Or an assault rifle, like I like. What I'm going to have you guys do in the voting is just pick whether to go stealthy or go aggressive, and I'll rotate through the weapons, so it's one less thing you guys have to vote on, but I will show off all the weapons. And in particular with the assault rifle, you saw there, because we did Mina's bonus mission, we start with the scope for the assault rifle, which is actually one of the best sight mods for the assault rifle. It's a really nice bonus there, and expensive to buy as well. So if you're not even going to use it, you can at least sell it for a decent amount of money. But unfortunately, we don't start with any other mods for any of the weapons, except, as you saw, the suppressor and laser sight for the pistol. Over here we have our gadget layout. As you can see, we have room for 4 gadgets in the casual clothing armor option, but we only start with the 2 gadgets. 1 first aid kit and 1 grenade. Now, over in here we have the big old computer system, which gives us access to email, which I'll show up in the thread, and the clearinghouse, which is where you buy stuff. And it's neatly broken down into the different weapons. You can buy new pistols, and as well as accessories and ammunition. And likewise for SMGs, shotguns, and assault rifles. You can also buy armor. Like I said, this would be the stealthy armor here. So you can see the sound dampening is basically how stealthy it is, with the higher the number being more stealthy. Endurance is basically the regenerating layer of health you have. And damage reduction, how many slots they have for upgrades, which I'm going through right here. Most of these upgrades have some kind of trade-off, but they all have some special ability, like the digital camouflage, and especially printed circuitry, which makes the mini-games easier without scaling up your sabotage level to screw the pooch. And you can also buy the different gadgets here. As I said, we only started with the 1 first aid kit and 1 grenade, so it's nice to be able to buy new ones like EMPs in unlimited quantities. And the far right symbol there, the globe, is where you can buy intel for the different missions, which I'm not going to show off here because I want to show off the missions at the mission screen. So let's back out of here and take a quick run through our little safe house. I can't get over how they put the fountain inside, right by the front door. And here you can see our 3 mission options: bug the Alsmod airfield, investigate the Jisan weapons stockpile, and intercept Nasri the arms dealer. All of these are combat missions, so just vote on which one you want to do and what approach you want to take.